And then he said something to me that he goes, do you want to see where Tupac is buried? And I'm like, I don't, what do you mean? Because everyone knows Tupac's ashes were spread off the Pacific and Malibu. He's like, oh, yeah, no.
For years, the mystery surrounding Tupac's death has haunted the world of rap. But in 2025, new whispers ignite the streets. A concealed burial site in the Carolinas. Did its name resurfacing in the chaos? A courtroom dance around justice. The real story isn't 6 feet under, it's clawing its way to the surface. And when the truth finally erupts, sleep will vanish, and power will collapse.
Did you learn anything about his death?
Yeah, I mean, so he died, it's interesting, he died in Vegas, and he was there for the Bruce Seldon-Mike Tyson fight. A very, very bad fight.
Jeff Pullman just accomplished what no one else ever managed. He found Tupac's real grave. And the story behind it? It's pure cinema. For almost 30 years, everyone believed Pac was cremated. No grave, no tomb, just ashes scattered across the world, with a few allegedly smoked by the outlaws. But Pullman's new book, Only God Can Judge Me, The Many Lives of Tupac Shakur, flips that legend on its head. The hip-hop world is still reeling. The acclaimed sports biographer spent 3 years on this odyssey, nearly 700 interviews deep. He spoke to everyone, family like Sister Sikiiwa and stepbrother Mopreme, classmates, dealers, film co-stars from Juice and Poetic Justice, ex-Black Panthers, Death Row insiders, even Tupac's high school girlfriend, who shared over 100 love letters. The portrait that emerges isn't of a mythic outlaw, but of a brilliant, fragile soul, broke, lovesick, and trapped in the prison of his own legend. Critics are calling it fearless, definitive, and the book even the diehards never saw coming.
I interviewed some family members, distant family members who happen to live in Lumberton, and one guy goes, hey, do you want to tour the house? I'm the caretaker. And I'm like, oh. So I just ripped my pants on a fence for absolutely nothing. You get to take it. I'm like, yeah, I didn't even tell my wife. He's like, yeah. He drives me there. I'm literally inside of Feni Shakur's house with the caretaker. She's died in 2016, so all her boxes are packed up. Here are her books, here are stuff. And then he said something to me that he goes, do you want to see where Tupac is buried? And I'm like, I don't, what do you mean? Because everyone knows Tupac's ashes were spread off the Pacific and Malibu. He's like, oh, yeah, no. He has a grave here on the property. I'm like, I didn't let on, but in my head, I'm like, wait, what?
And then, things took a turn straight out of a thriller. Down in Lumberton, North Carolina, a small, quiet town about 100 miles south of Raleigh, Pullman was tracing the final years of Afeni Shakur when he met Tupac's cousin, Dante Powers, caretaker of the property. Powers was heading to the old home Afeni bought in 2000 and invited Pullman to tag along. Inside, just boxes and dust, Afeni's life frozen in time. Then came the question from Powers that changed everything.
He's like, yeah, come on. And in the front, it's in the book actually, the pictures, in the front yard, in an abandoned lot in Lumberton, North Carolina, is Tupac Shakur's headstone, right there. And I'm standing over it. And I would say the full circle moment for a guy writing a book is standing over the headstone that no one even knows exists, the person you're writing about. And that was a chills moment for me, being there with Tupac's grave. And the whole book is just a journey of wild and crazy and fun and interesting.
Afeni had bought that 56-acre estate in 2000, 4 years after Pac's death, building a massive home behind wrought iron gates. She lived there from 2002 to 2016, even marrying a local preacher, Gus Davis, in 2004. The marriage ended by the spring of 2016, and not long after, she moved to a houseboat in Sausalito. When she passed that May at 69, the property was left abandoned, swallowed by weeds, forgotten by history. No shrine like Jim Morrison's grave in Paris or Hendrix's in Seattle. Just an empty house hiding one of hip-hop's greatest secrets, Tupac Shakur's body, buried in the front yard. Why keep it secret? Pullman suggests it was respect. The family wanted peace, not a spectacle. Lumberton's isolation kept it sacred. Still, the rest of Pac's ashes tell a story worthy of his own verses. Scattered in Los Angeles, Georgia near Afeni's home, Soweto in South Africa, and the Pacific Ocean. And yes, the outlaws really did mix some with weed at his memorial, just like the man himself might have wanted. Just like Pac once rhymed in his cremated last wishes, smoke my ashes. Mopreme confirmed it, saying they did it out of love, trying to feel close again. Pac always talked about it, he said. Even Suge Knight backed it up in recent interviews, claiming the family passed around a bag of Tupac's ashes the night he died, rolling it up in tribute, though Suge himself didn't join in, being on probation. But Pullman's book goes far beyond that single revelation. He tracked down the real girl behind Brenda's Got a Baby. Now 33, the Brooklyn infant once tossed down a trash chute and reunited her with her mother. He uncovered how Tupac shadowed crack kingpin Bobby Burton for a week while preparing for Juice, notebook in hand, absorbing every detail. There's the infamous Poetic Justice clash where Janet Jackson allegedly demanded an AIDS test before their kiss scene, and Pac flat out refused, telling people to curse her out. The pages dig deep into Tupac's guilt over the 1992 Marin City tragedy, when his gun accidentally discharged, killing 6-year-old QAID Walker Teal, a loss that haunted every verse he ever wrote. Then there's the ache that shaped him, the pain of his father, Billy Garland, never showing up for a prison visit. Tupac once said it felt like having my heart carved out. The book includes over 100 love letters to his high school sweetheart, Mary Baldridge, revealing a tender poet far removed from the image the world knew. But Pullman doesn't shy away from the contradictions. How that same romantic, gentle soul could morph into what death row insider Mob James called a wannabe thug, a damn wannabe. Pathetic. The narrative traces Tupac's final months under death row's shadow. Broke, restless, and desperate. Even the BMW Suge gifted him was leased. Actress Leela Rochon rejected his advances, saying, "I don't feel like getting shot." Pullman paints a haunting portrait of a man collapsing under the weight of his own mythology, lonely, brilliant, seeking love in all the wrong places, until one violent night at the MGM Grand set off the chain that ended everything. But as Pullman unearthed Tupac's past, his family was fighting a new war, this one over his fortune. In January 2022, Sikiwa Shakur and the Tupac Shakur Foundation filed suit against Tom Worley. The former Interscope executive Afeni had appointed as trustee of the estate. They accused him of embezzlement, treating Tupac's legacy like a private ATM. The complaint alleged he pocketed over $5.5 million in excessive compensation since 2016, installed himself as head of Amaru Entertainment, creating a glaring conflict of interest, and withheld Sikiwa's rightful inheritance. Cars, jewelry worth over $217,000, gold plaques, clothing, even pinball machines. Many of those items, she claimed, were displayed in the Tupac Shakur Wake Me When I'm Free exhibit without her approval. Worley denied everything, saying he'd boosted the estate's value by tens of millions through that same exhibit, Afeni's own vision, and that the trust gave him full authority. He called the accusations disappointing and harmful. The court ordered him to provide a full accounting by June 30, 2022, but Sikiwa called the results woefully inadequate, a vague list with no breakdown, and demanded an independent audit by a CPA. She accused Worley of operating a hide-and-control strategy, but the family's attention has shifted toward an even darker thread, the persistent claims by Keith D. Across his 2008 to 2009 federal proffer, 2018 documentaries, 2019 memoir Compton Street Legend, and countless interviews, he's repeated the same explosive allegation, that Diddy offered a $1 million bounty for Tupac's death. According to Keith, the offer came after the Quad Studio shooting, allegedly delivered through associate Eric Zip Martin, with Diddy saying he'd give anything for those dudes' heads, millions. In 2024 court filings, Diddy's name appeared 77 times, and another 47 in a 2025 DA transcript. Diddy has denied it all since day one, calling the claims ridiculous and completely false. The Las Vegas Metro Police confirm he's never been a suspect. Still, Mopreme Shakur says the family wants answers. If investigator Spiro's ongoing probe uncovers proof, they'll pursue charges, or a wrongful death suit. For now, it remains a quiet storm of private investigation, with no public breakthroughs, yet. The fact that Tupac's family brought in one of the nation's most elite attorneys says everything about how seriously they're taking Keith D.'s claims. But as shocking as these new revelations are, about where Tupac's remains lie and what followed his death, they're really just the prologue. The curtain's about to rise on something even more unhinged, the tangled web of conspiracies and courtroom sagas that have kept this case breathing for nearly 30 years. Theories, arrests, and that undying question, the one that refuses to die with him, is Tupac still alive? Let's talk about the elephant in the room, or maybe, the ghost. The most infamous theory of all suggests Tupac escaped to Cuba, where he lives under the protection of his aunt, Assata Shakur, the Black Panther revolutionary granted asylum there since 1984. The story goes that Fidel Castro himself orchestrated the escape, flying Pac out via helicopter or through Nation of Islam channels with a body double left behind. Over the years, there have been supposed sightings, 2016 photos of Tupac with Rihanna that were proven fake, a Somali taxi driver claiming he saw him in 2018, and rumors from small-town Cubans who swear they've seen him walking among them. In 2018, filmmaker Michael Nice claimed he had footage of Castro personally approving the operation. Around the same time, Suge Knight's son went viral with posts claiming Tupac was alive in Malaysia, seen posing with Beyoncé and 50 Cent, though he later admitted it was all part of a promo campaign. Other alleged hideouts? New Zealand, after 2011 PBS site hack revealed Tupac's location. New Mexico, where private investigator Jimmy Poole claimed to have photos of him living on a Navajo reservation in 2020. Even East Africa, in Rick Boss's documentary Tupac, The Great Escape from UMC, which alleges he fled alongside Yaki Gaddafi. The rumors span from witness protection theories to Illuminati cover-ups and body double swaps. By 2025, memes joked he'd gone furry in Brazil or was chilling in Ruto's mansion in Kenya. And then there's the heart of it all, the Machiavelli theory. Tupac's final album, The Don Illuminati, the 7-day theory, dropped under the alias Machiavelli, a nod to Niccolo Machiavelli, whom fans claim faked his death to deceive enemies. The album, recorded in just 7 days and released 7 weeks after Pac's death, only added fuel to the mythology. The cover art shows Tupac crucified, echoing Jesus' resurrection, but conspiracy forums twisted it to fit the 7-day prophecy. Numerologists ran wild. He was shot on the 9th of July, 96, died at 4:03 p.m. Add it up. They say, you get 7. He was 25. 2 plus 5 equals 7. Rearrange Machiavelli and, supposedly, it spells I am alive K. Fans point to posthumous releases like God Bless the Dead from 1998, which mentions Biggie, who wasn't killed until the following year, as proof Tupac recorded it after his death. Lyrics like Expect Me Like You Expect Jesus to Come Back became gospel for the believers. Then came the fake autopsy theory. Leaked photos showed a 6-foot, 215-pound body, larger than Tupac's 5 feet 10 inches, 168-pound frame, and missing the Machiavelli tattoo. Skeptics claimed it was a prop from California Love or Gridlocked. No public body was ever seen, and even the Outlaws, who said they smoked some of his ashes, later theorists also point to strange details. Tupac's social security number allegedly stayed active after his death, and his cremation took place just 1 day later, performed by a cremator who supposedly disappeared afterward. Suge Knight himself has long kept the fire burning, telling reporters in 2017, "With Pac, you never know," and in 2025 claiming Tupac asked Afeni to let him go to avoid prison. The Outlaws initially confirmed following his lyric, "Smoke my ashes," but some members later admitted doubt. Afeni's statement that her son chose to leave quietly became fuel for those insisting he chose to vanish. But here's the reality: every one of these theories has been dismantled. Machiavelli didn't fake his death. He died in 1527 of illness. The fake death idea is a misread of his political writings. The numerology, pure pattern hunting. You can make any number mean anything if you want it to. And the autopsy photo that sparked so much online chaos? It was authenticated by the Las Vegas Metro Police during an internal review. Tupac Shakur was real. His death was real. The myth, though, that might live forever. The so-called discrepancies that fueled decades of rumor have clear, scientific explanations. Post-mortem swelling can alter height and weight. Tattoos can fade or disappear beneath surgical incisions and dried blood. Fluid retention changes everything. In 2023, a Clark County grand jury reviewed verified autopsy photographs, graphic, conclusive evidence showing Tupac's bullet wounds. The cremation, often cited as suspicious, was not. It was Afeni's decision, honoring Tupac's explicit wishes he literally rapped about. The family kept the service private to prevent it from becoming a circus. And now, as confirmed by Jeff Pullman's investigation, part of Tupac's ashes rest in Lumberton, North Carolina, physical proof of his death, sealed since September 13, 1996. So why do the myths keep breathing despite all that evidence? 4 reasons. First, institutional distrust. The case sat unsolved for 27 years. No arrests, no closure. The East Coast-West Coast war, police corruption rumors, and the shadow of the FBI surveillance of black activists created a deep skepticism of authority, especially among communities that saw justice fail them time and again. When officials can't solve a murder for nearly 30 years, people invent their own answers. Second, Tupac engineered his own enigma. The Machiavelli album, cryptic lyrics, posthumous records, 7 platinum albums after death, compared to 4 in life. He built a mythology that blurred truth and legend. Death Row Records and Suge Knight fed that fire. Mystery sold records, and they knew it. But while the internet debated Cuba and body doubles, real detectives were quietly working. On September 29, 2023, Dwayne Keefe D. Davis, a 60-year-old former Southside Crip and uncle to Orlando Anderson, was arrested during a morning walk in a SWAT-style takedown caught on bodycam. He was indicted for murder with a deadly weapon, gang enhancement attached, accused of being the shot caller who set the retaliation in motion that night in Las Vegas.
Do you believe Keefe D when it comes to Puffy? Like when he made comments and say that, Puffy was scared of Tupac and Suge, so he would use him as protection when he came to LA, and how Puffy put a bounty on a death row chain for $1 million.
And here's where it gets surreal. Keefe D effectively handed over his own evidence. Back in 2008 and 2009, under a limited immunity agreement with a lapped FBI task force, he confessed to riding in the front seat of the white Cadillac, obtaining the .40 Glock, and passing it to the back seat, where his nephew Orlando Anderson allegedly fired the fatal shots. He also named Diddy as offering $1 million for the hit. Then came the documentaries, Death Row Chronicles, Unsolved, where he laid out the entire chain of events. In 2019, he co-authored Compton Street Legend, writing, "One of my guys from the back seat grabbed the Glock and started busting. Tupac chose the wrong game." He doubled down in interviews with Vlad TV, The Art of Dialogue, and others, boasting about his role. But after his arrest, the story unraveled fast. In a jailhouse interview with ABC News, he claimed it was all performance, fabrication for fame and money. He said he never even read the book, blaming co-author Yusuf Jah for doing his own thing. He told his defense team those statements were lies meant to shield drug associates, insisting his immunity was nationwide. In bail motions, he argued the confessions were just entertainment. He even claimed he wasn't in Vegas at all, that he was 300 miles away in LA with dozens of witnesses. His own son called him a liar. Retired lap detective Greg Kading, who first interrogated him, called it the dumbest self-incrimination I've ever seen. Keefe D fired back, accusing Kading of planting evidence and asking, "If I was so dangerous, why'd they wait 27 years to charge me?" But prosecutors pointed to the mountain of contradictions, his books, interviews, and taped confessions, as proof he broke his immunity deal. Judges agreed, ruling his own words admissible. In January 2025, his attorney moved to dismiss on grounds of delay and lost witnesses, but the motion failed. By April, Keefe D was convicted in a separate jailhouse fight, and by September 2025, he was sentenced to 16 to 40 months, to run concurrently with his pending murder trial. The legend of Tupac still echoes, but the law, finally, has caught its voice. From behind bars, where he's serving a 28-year sentence for manslaughter, Suge Knight has broken his silence, calling Keefe D's arrest shocking, swearing he'd 1000% never testify, and hinting the real shooter wasn't Orlando Anderson at all. "I know who did it," he said, "but I ain't no snitch." Tupac's family has voiced both relief and frustration, thankful for progress, angry at the decades of delay. That's what pushed them to hire powerhouse attorney Alex Spiro to investigate the alleged Diddy connection, separate from the state's murder case. As of November 10, 2025, Keefe D's trial is locked for February 9, 2026. No further delays announced. He's pleaded not guilty. Prosecutors are pushing to admit everything: his proffer statements, his book, his interviews, as evidence. If he's convicted, detectives like Greg Kading say it will mark the official, historical closure of hip-hop's greatest mystery. But until a verdict is read, the case remains technically unsolved. And to understand how it ever came to this, why it took 27 years to charge anyone, you have to rewind to the feud that burned through rap like a wildfire, the East Coast-West Coast War, and how a friendship between Tupac Shakur and Christopher Wallace became a rivalry that buried them both.
Yeah, that's why it goes down to the chain snatching. When the people were saying, you know, when the people first tried to snatch the chain, rumor back then that it was a bounty on that chain. That Puffy was saying, we want to put this chain in in our video, and that's why the guys tried to snatch the chain, and they didn't get the chain, and that's why Pac really took off and just started, you know what I mean, and fighting Orlando, because Pac looked at it like, this is my beef now.